I would like to ask you to please raise your hand if you have ever played the game The Sims. All right. What about any game that involved picking your character? All right, quite a few of you. So maybe some of you will understand me, because for me, it has always been such a struggle. Because in those games, you had to pick one character, and only one character that would be the right one, that would allow you to win the game. But each one had something good to it. One had superpower strength, the other the ability to jump 10 times as high, but that last one had such pretty hair color. It was a struggle. And the same in life, as we live and we play, we all get just one character, ourselves, based on the place and time where we were born to, our friends and family. But as they always say, the most important are the connections which we make, the team which we build. And that is exactly what I came to speak about today. I want to empower each and every generation in their unique and valuable skills, mindsets, ideas. But the truth is, those qualities, those strengths are best used when working in teams, in intergenerational teams. That is exactly how we in my motherland, in Poland, were able to create a meaningful change regarding the Ukrainian situation. It was within my university and in my family. And it was all thanks to an international dialogue. The success was thanks to three different age groups. Firstly, elders as the storytellers, then adults as the leaders, and youth as the risk takers. Let's begin with the elders, as I like to call them our teachers, when simply it is our grandmas and grandpas. But what can they do in the world matters, where you must run around and protest and be loud, whereas my grandma lives in a very small city? Well, her player characteristics, I want to say, are family-oriented mindset, knowledge, and memory. Because what she can do is tell stories, be the motivation and the reason. As the war began on February 24th, 2022, I must say that I felt guilty. I felt guilty for not feeling enough pain. Because you see on the news the long lists of names of people who lost their lives in a matter of seconds. You see the destroyment of full cities. And I feel like I should be on the ground, asking for help, crying out loud, and yet I wasn't. But my grandma, she was the way I was able to connect. She was the one who forced me to act. All the elders were saying in Poland, that's how it all began. September 1st, 1939. Just this time, it is Ukraine instead of Poland. That resemblance is what forced me and forced us all in Poland to act with all that we have, with all the resources available. Because we knew from all those stories of our grandparents how truly terrible it was. Right now, I want you to picture your own living room in your home. Go to that place, see the couch, the table, everything in it. Really picture it. And now I want you, as you look at your floor, to picture wounded German soldiers covered in blood. I want you to see surgeons performing operations on those soldiers, and next to them a 3-year-old walking among dead bodies. It's a complicated picture, but it is a real one. That is exactly my grandma's childhood. My home, my family home, was changed into a German hospital in 1944. Now that story is what makes me think of every single Ukrainian person and of the traumatic events they must be going through right now. I wish someone had helped my family and my grandma back then. So right now, I want to go back in time and help a different Ukrainian family. Some may think that this individual help is too small, but again, let's go back to those stories, to the truth of elders. If my great-grandma had listened to her neighbor, telling her to leave my baby grandma behind because she's too much trouble, would that have a small impact? My grandma's life, my mom, myself, or our friends and family, it would all be different. I simply wouldn't be here. And if I have to say it out loud, that would be simply sad. Because we don't want history to repeat. So we must listen to those who know what went wrong and what to do to make the future better. Imagine that in your lifetime you went through World War II, the communist regime, fighting the higher power, the Cold War, another war, and a pandemic. That is exactly my grandma's life story. She is a history book, and she is the real eyes, not the ones from the news or the hero stories. So to my grandma, I always say, you are not too old to help the world, because thanks to your stories, we are able to know what, when, and how to do in crisis situations such as a war, a conflict, or even a heartbreak or a mosquito bite. Thanks to a communication. Now, let's go to the second group, to the adults. They are our leaders. What may their player characteristics be? I would say it's decisiveness and a community-oriented mindset. I have to say, they have the most power, they have the most resources, and they make the decisions. But I believe that those decisions and the institutions, the projects they create, are the most useful when they listen to the elders and the youth. As I worked in the collection point at the University of Warsaw, which was opened 12 hours each day, our coordinators were staying there even into the night. There was so much happening. And I remember one day, I walked into my coordinator's office. I want to take you with me there. Imagine it was a big room with 2 doors on the opposite sides. One to the visitor centers, and then the second one for the volunteers. And people just kept coming in and out, passing by, dropping papers, wanting for him to sign something. I want to say there was just so much power to act. On my left, I saw a few people on the couch talking lively about something, and at the same time, they were typing on their computers. On my right, my coordinator, talking on the phone with the coordinator of the university in Kiev, signing papers, and at the same time, all the time, listening to the news. I walked in, and I had an idea. An idea not really well thought through, so I thought I'm gonna hear, come back later, we don't have time. This is a crisis situation, not yours. But as I walked in, I presented my plan. I want to create a collection point at each dormitory, not only the main campus, because I believe each and every person must do something. He listened to me, corrected my mistakes because there were many. He signed it and wished me good luck. He listened and he said yes. But that wasn't the day when I realized why I want to work for them and why they are my leaders, why they make my decisions. It was Women's Day, and as I normally walked into our office, there was something different. I walked in and I saw a bunch of flowers, red roses with a blue and yellow ribbon on it. For me, for us, the volunteers. I know it may sound small and silly, but this little gesture of appreciation, of showing that we are seen, that is what won me over and what reminded me why they are my leaders. Now that is how to win youth over. When the leaders, when the adults think of the big problems, of the big values, as well as the small ones. When we connect the everyday life and the big world matters. Thanks to that listening to each other, we were able to create at the University of Warsaw a bunch of motivational videos to help Ukraine. We were able to create funds for Ukrainian students, find families their home, as well as find transportation for a man who came and said he wants to go to the border and fight right now. So, to my mom or my supervisor, I say, you are not too old or too young to talk to me, to us, the youth, because I know we make mistakes, but that's how we learn. We want to hear your opinion and we want to share ours as well. That is exactly how we were able to create a simple Google document that had all the available accommodation for free for Ukrainian refugees all around Europe, Italy, Spain, Poland, Germany. A simple Google document which sounded maybe stupid and maybe too simple, but it worked. And I believe it really did change lives. And now we come to the last point, the youth, the one I know most about, I think. What may their player characteristics be? It is for sure physical strength, me not much, but still, and risk-taking. I saw those qualities in spy novels or in stories from World War II. But I must say, in 2022, I saw those qualities in my own eyes, just a few floors below me. Let me explain. In my university dormitory, as the war began, I saw a group forming, a group of highly motivated boys who started running around Warsaw, collecting donations, going to the television, doing anything that's possible. Literally, the way I met them was they knocked on my door saying, Karolina, it's 11 p.m., but we need coats, we need dry foods and hygiene products. We're going to the border right now. So, together, the next day, we went to another dormitory and started knocking on each and every door. But there was a slight problem. The motivation that we had, the fire within us, it almost burnt us. The problem was the rules and the adults who wanted us to follow them. They said, we cannot collect clothes at midnight because it may disturb people. We didn't think so, but okay. So we came to a conclusion. 10 p.m. That is our deadline. And so we collected everything we need, and I think we both learned something. The youth, that rules do exist and we have to follow them sometimes, and the older people as well, because they let us stay. Our receptionist ladies let us stay until 10:30 p.m. That's 30 minutes more, and that is a success, considering how strict they usually are. But I have to say that we weren't always that brave and strong and independent. We couldn't work alone, because one day, as I came back from a collection point, I sat down on my bed and I started crying. One thought in my head, I'm gonna die. I have no control over what is happening. The war is 4 hours away from me. The motivation was lost. But then came my grandma, telling me all her stories, telling me what she has been through, and telling me to get up and continue working because we make the change. Then came my mom, telling me her scout stories and reminding me that the youth was so powerful in World War II, that the Nazis were capturing 16-year-olds, asking, who are you working for? And they answered, we're working for the right cause. Because if youth is not stopped by, you are too young, we are able to use that creative flow within us. Like, have you seen what's happening on TikTok? You can basically create new ideals, new protests, or even a musical in a global pandemic. If you don't know what I mean, all it means is that there is this creative flow within us, and it cannot be stopped. It should not be stopped. So imagine that we create methods for elders to speak up so that the people with resources, adults, they know what, when, and how to do in crisis situations, so that they also listen to the youth And the youth can act with all their power in ideas that they also created. But I have to say, if my grandma was listening to me right now, and if she knew English, she would look at me and go, "Hey, I'm not a risk taker. I climb windows every Sunday to clean them. I'm 85 years old. That is a life risk." And she's right. She is a risk taker. She would tell me, "I'm not a leader. I get all of you kids together, otherwise you would be just working all the time." She's right. She is a leader. We all have those qualities because we learned them from the other generations. So, the perfect age to act. It may be cheesy, but it is your age at the present moment as we see in front of our eyes major global problems unfolding. Children of 2002, me included, Generation Z, we're called the fire horses, according to the lunar calendar. But I want to believe it means more than just mere words. Because we do have that fire within us, a fire which burns. And that is why we need the adults and the elders to help us tame this fire, so that it can burn what must be burned and sculpt a society which burns for the right causes. So from this day on, I hope you never again put your head down if you hear that you are too young or too old, if somebody asks for your age. If you do come back to this talk, I'll get more views, yay. But really, I want you to remember and believe with your whole heart that your age is the perfect age to act. Thank you.